if they've stepped within 3 feet of my body, they've stepped into my office. Your mouth is your office. Keep it open. So, and I'm kind of doing that again because I'm starting all over. So wherever I'm at, I find ways to talk to people. I will find a way to I start up conversations easily anyway. Just creating conversations. You can find something to talk about how it weaves in what you do. So I'm a firm believer that you don't just run your business on social media. You weave your business into your life.
Welcome to MLM Nation, a podcast of leaders, by leaders, for leaders, hosted by Simon Chan. He's built a team of over 200,000 and is now a full-time MLM coach and trainer. So if you're ready to level up your business, join us now. Let's do this.
MLM Nation, this is Simon Chan. I'm fired up to bring our special guest today. We have Tracy Rodgers. Hey, Tracy, are you ready to make it happen?
I am so excited. Yes, let's go.
Tracy Rodgers first got started in direct sales in 1988, but she wasn't coachable and willing to get outside her comfort zone. She didn't do the necessary personal development. She had some success, but always struggled, but then finally left the profession and was a merchant marine for a while before she helped launch her company in 2017, where she led a team of over 45,000 people who did over 10 million in monthly sales. Tracy has earned over 7 figures in lifetime commissions and is super excited by the new business she recently launched in September 2024. So Tracy, I know you got a ton of experience. I just gave everyone a brief background, but take us back to 1988. How did you get started in direct selling?
Well, I was a single mom of 4 children, and I was living in low-income apartments at the time. And I always was always interested in, we called it direct sales back then. There wasn't a lot of companies back in those days. I'd see the pink Cadillacs driving by, and I was just like, I could do this. But I didn't have money to invest because I was, in low-income apartments. But I was in the mall one day in our tiny little town, just a little strip mall. At the very end of the mall, there was a card table, and there was some skincare products and makeup products, and it said free to join. And the products were ugly. They were so ugly. They were so embarrassing. It was really bad. Just the packaging, but I didn't care. I said, is it really free to join? And she said, yeah. I said, sign me up. Hadn't tried the products, didn't know anything about it. I knew it had aloe vera in it. So that's how I got started in network marketing. I jumped in, I earned my free kit and got exposed to social selling, network marketing.
So you had, before we started recording, you said you had limited success. It never really worked out. Why? What happened?
I think my experience is like 80% of the people out there. I love the idea of making money. I love the idea of having my own schedule and things like that. But I was a little insecure. A lot insecure. I didn't have a lot of confidence. And I would get to a certain level of leadership because everybody wanted to hang out with me. We had fun. They're like, I'll join your team. And I'd start to build a team. And then my mentor would say, okay, now, she would just try to coach me to do the things that were outside my comfort zone to be successful. And I just wasn't willing to do it. I remember telling her like, well, good for you. If it works for you and you feel comfortable doing that, good for you. But I'm not comfortable doing that. And because I wasn't coachable, because I wasn't willing to go out of my comfort zone, which is where all the magic happens, my team would implode. And then I would get frustrated, have the hiccups, and then I would move on to the next shiny ball. So basically, I expected, I guess nowadays, we didn't have Facebook back then. We didn't even have cordless phones back then. But it would be like now people just signing up with the hope and excitement of making some money. And they just throw their website out on Facebook and throw a few graphics. And then they're frustrated because they're not making any money. So this industry, as you know, and you teach, you have to go out of your comfort zone to be successful. And we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable because that's where the magic happens and that's where the growth starts. So I just wasn't coachable. And more importantly, I wasn't willing to go out of my comfort zone and do things that I wasn't comfortable with.
What is an example of something that, and before we, just to let the listeners know, before we hit record, Tracy said that she had some success just based on her personality. That you're probably very outgoing, it was fun, but then you would self-sabotage yourself because you wouldn't have the leadership and it would implode. And then you start again, you have some success, but you never get outside your comfort zone. So what is one or two examples of getting outside your comfort zone that you weren't willing to do?
Well, I'll just give you an example. Well, one, pick up the phone and call people. Back in the day, our phones are all we had, and just start calling people. But I remember her telling, we were doing a training, and she said, just for example, like if we had somebody interested in the business, and then when I did learn to do this, I took off. So she was telling us, like, if you've got somebody interested, in joining the business and they just haven't done it yet, we don't know why we're not mind readers. We don't know why they haven't done it. So just reach out to them and say, hey, Jane, we've talked a little bit about the industry. I know the business. I know that you've showed some interest, but I'd love to ask you a question. What's the one thing stopping you from, joining the company and getting started next week? Or what's the one thing stopping you from getting a kit and making money next week? And I heard that and I thought, that is brilliant. Like, that is brilliant. But I wasn't comfortable saying that to somebody. I felt pushy. I felt scammy. I just wasn't comfortable saying those words to somebody. And the reality is we're not mind readers. So just by saying, hey, I'm just curious, what is the one thing stopping you from getting a kit and making money next week? And when I finally went out of my comfort zone and started to do that, it was a game changer. You know what happened, Simon? People told me, like, well, I don't know if I have enough time, or I don't know if I know enough people, or I don't know. And then once we know what the issue is, then we can overcome that objection and make them feel a little bit better about going ahead and joining the business. So that's just an example. I just wasn't comfortable at all doing something new or saying something new because I wasn't sure of the results, and I just didn't want to feel like stupid, But the reality is, when we're doing things out of our comfort zone that has worked for other people, it's going to work for us as well.
Yeah. So where was the switch? Well, what happened where you finally shifted your attitude and you're willing to go outside that comfort zone?
That's a great question. So in 2017, and I was a merchant marine for about a year, which is hysterical because I hate water and I'm afraid of boats. But my son was a first mate merchant marine, and he talked me into going and getting certified, and then I was going to work on his boat. So anyway, and I did that for about a year, and then in March of 2017, this new company was launching. And I saw it and I went, this is going to be good. Like, this is going to be really good. This has never been done before. And so immediately I put the brakes on and I thought, you know what, before you go, well, the first thing I did is I made a list of 120 people and I called 10 people a day, which I can tell you about that in a minute. But I realized if I don't do something different, the meaning of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I had to figure out what my baggage was with this direct selling network marketing gig. So I got the book, You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, whatever her name is. And I read it like 5 times. I just read it. And I knew I had to do personal development for business, but the first thing I needed to do is do personal business for my mind and change my course, because if I just jumped into it, then I knew that I was going to go right back to the same habits. So I needed to figure out what my hangups were, what's my baggage that's stopping me from going out of my comfort zone and doing things that I've never been comfortable with before. So I got that book, I read it like 3 or 4 times, and highlighted what I needed to, work on. And then I jumped in and I had a list of 120 people. 100 people told me no. 20 people said yes, but from those 20 to 45,000. So the power of picking up the phone and just making those calls. And I knew that I just knew that I had to do something different. So I kind of got my mind right so that I could do the things I needed to do to grow in this business.
You had said that one of the reasons why you did not get outside your comfort zone was the fear, right, of picking up the phone. What was the mental hack or thing you said to yourself that made you allow you actually picked up the phone and called 120 people?
Well, at the time I was pretty desperate. I saw this opportunity. I had just come off of losing. We had a medical situation and I just came off losing everything, my house, everything. And I packed my car up with 4 boxes and my dog, and I was homeless, and I went to go live with my mom, and I was going to work on the ferry system and kind of, get back on my feet. I just knew, and I read the book, and I just knew that if I didn't do things that I'd never done before, then I wouldn't get to a place where I wanted to be. And it was, I got to tell you, out of that list on the fourth day, so I called about, 40 people, and I think I had like 3 or 4 people that had said yes, but I was calling 10 people a day. And on the 9th phone call, this is really good for people to hear. On my 9th phone call on the 4th day, not only did this gal tell me no, I don't remember her name. I couldn't, if somebody offered me $1 million, I could not tell you her name. But at the time, it really threw me because she just ripped into me. I mean, she ripped into me about everything. And I got off the phone and I just thought, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need to call people and invite them to do this. I've already got 3 or 4 people signed up. I'm just going to grow this organically. I have a job on the ferries. I don't need this. And so then I decided to get up and just kind of take my dog for a walk and clear my head. And so when I came back, I went, you know what? You've got 1 phone call to make. Just finish out your day. Your goal was 10 calls a day. Just finish this out and you don't have to call anybody ever again. But that 10th phone call, Simon, she said yes. And from that one yes, it created about $5 to $6 minimum $1 million a month on that list. And so what if I had let that mean person affect me and me just say, I'm done? I would never have had the success. So sometimes when we're doing things, we're going to get the hard no's and we're going to get people that even mock us, but they're not in control of why we're doing this. And so that was a big lesson for me. But I was in a desperate place and I believed in this company that was launching and I wanted to have a different lifestyle. And I knew that I had to do things that were really uncomfortable in order to get to a place where I wanted to be. And so it was kind of a desperation and just determination that I was going to be as uncomfortable as I could until I was comfortable doing the things that I didn't want to do.
That this is one of my favorite quotes that I learned from, I forgot who it was. I think it's the CEO who started Southwest. But he talked about, not Southwest, I think Bar Parsons, who started GoDaddy. And he said, the temptation to quit, and you can teach this with your team, the temptation to quit is greatest when success is right around the corner.
Yes.
And that's like you, right? You wanted to quit after the 9th. Forget it, right? If you had quit, you have never gotten that person. But the temptation to quit is greatest right when success is right around the corner. And there's another great Christian book, called The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. That's a great read. It talks about God would tempt you, but would never tempt you beyond what you can bear. So he'll make you, he would test you. He'll make your life miserable, but he'll always give you a way out. And he give examples of Moses, of Jesus, of Noah. And it's that little way out. That's where the abundant riches are right there. Right. But when you want to quit, just don't quit because the success is right there.
And it's so sad, Simon, because the average person does quit. Most people come into this, and as soon as they hit that roadblock, that stumble, they just quit. And I almost did. And I think about how my life wouldn't have changed. I mean, because of that 10th phone call, and then I continued to do my 120 calls. But because of that 10th phone call, I became a millionaire. And I wouldn't have if I hadn't called anybody else. I would have just had those 3 people on my team. And I love what you're saying because I'm going to get this book. Because so many people quit when they get a couple of no's, but they don't realize that's just part of the business. Just because we get a no now doesn't mean it's a no forever. And it's much closer to a yes. We have to go through the no's to find the yes. That's just part of this industry.
What would you say was the turning point of your business where things really start to take off? Or like a light bulb moment, something that happened?
Well, the light bulb moment for me was I can't just jump into this company to help launch it if I didn't have my mind right. I believe that 90% of this business is your mindset. I do believe that. I believe that 90% of it is mindset. And my aha moment was, if I don't figure out what my problem is, if I don't figure out what's stopping me from getting out of my comfort zone, then why even start this? And so I was so determined and so motivated to figure out what my baggage was that was kind of my aha moment. And from that, then it just so happened that Rob Sperry had just launched his first book, The Game of Networking, and I got it. And that was a game changer for me. And I remember calling him up going, I want to leech onto you. I'm going to link arms with you. You don't know who I am yet. But before I could get into personal development for business, I really had to get my mind right and figure out, why was I so afraid of being uncomfortable? Why was I so afraid of going out of my comfort zone? Because the reality is, I didn't die. I didn't die. So that was my aha moment, is I needed to really address what my demons were and meet them head on. I just had to meet them head on, and willing to go out of my comfort zone and do things that I didn't want to do.
When you got started, you had 120 people you need to reach out to. So that's basically like a DMO, a daily method of operation, income producing activities. Can you share a little bit about what do you teach people to do when they got started? What is your list of income producing activities?
Really, first of all, stop at the graphics. Stop it. So many people spend so much time on graphics and things that doesn't make them any money. And most of the time our companies have that. But I started, I kind of took this from a book that I read on Mary Kay Ash, with Mary Kay Cosmetics, and it stuck with me. And I teach it. I do it to this day. Like, here's my little list, right? What I've been doing is, the first thing obviously, like, when you get your kit, then, if you're terrified to go live, which that's the best way, at least take a picture of it, open the door. So I tell people, your mouth is your office. Keep it open. If they've stepped in 3 feet of your body, they've just stepped into your office. But I tell them, I said, if I go to your Facebook, do I know that your business is open? Well, would I know that you're, selling this product? So I walk them through, get it on Facebook. But then I also do something so simple that helps people that are kind of frozen. And so I tell them, every night before you go to bed, write down the 6 most important things that you need to do for business tomorrow. The 6 most important things. And that could be calling, Jane and Rita. That could be doing your Facebook posts. That could be following up with a customer. That could be, and if you only get through 1, 2, 3, and 4 that day, and you're crossing them off, then the next day, 5 and 6 become 1 and 2. So they're always getting the 6 most important things. Well, they're always writing down the 6 most important things they need to do. Some days they might only get to 2 of them. And so then 3, 4, 5, and 6 becomes 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I found that just by having them create this small little list of 6 things, and if they don't get it finished, carry it over, it keeps it in front of them. And I know for me, I still use my list. And if I don't use it, I get off track. You know what? And we all have good intentions, but the day gets away. It's like I'm going to do it this morning. And then things come up, and then you're like, I'm going to do it this afternoon. And then it gets busy. And you're like, I'm going to do it tomorrow. And pretty soon tomorrow's turned into a month. We haven't done anything. So I try to keep them just a simple little 6 steps you want to do and carry it over. But also, again, just if you're going to be on social media, whatever that is, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, your business needs to be on there. People need to know that you're open for business, or they're not going to be able to shop with you. And then what I've just started recently doing, and I really like this, a lot of people are terrified to go live. I was one of them. And so I offer, like, hey, when you, let's do a split dual Facebook Live. And I'll ask you a couple of questions. I'll get them to you before. It'll be about 15 minutes long, but let's launch your business. But I'll kind of be doing it with you so that you're not by yourself. And then I'll direct people to your website and, hey, reach out to her. So those are real simple things, but they seem to be really working for getting people onboarded, and getting their IPAs. That list of 6 things for a lot of people has been a game changer, because they have in front of them what the 6 most important things is they need to do for their business that day. And it seems to be working. So we're really liking it.
So those 6 things could be anything, right? It could be like 5 follow-ups. Like, these are the 5 friends I presented to follow-up. Or one day it could be 5 initial reach outs. So it doesn't need to be the same type of thing every day.
No. And as a matter of fact, you've probably heard of the power hour, where you split up an hour into 15 minutes. So I kind of redid a document that we use, like, for our team and our product and our company. And so we're doing that. We're using that. And I love it, because a lot of people can't focus for an hour. So I'm like, break it up into 4 15-minute sections. But that way they're getting customer service and follow up. They're getting following up with, anybody who's like maybe commented or expressed interest. They're following up with, the customers, possible recruit leads, and then 15 minutes on their team. So the power hour is really great. And then we kind of tweaked and created a leadership power hour. That's more so as a leader, we do the power hour for our own personal business. And then because you can't let your personal business go. And then we do a leadership power hour. So typically leaders are doing 2 hours a day, but they're getting a lot done because it's focused. It's got a tracking sheet and they stay on course. Yeah.
Switching topics a little bit. You've had so many up and downs in your direct selling career, from not being coachable to being aha moments and then company issues. And why do you keep going back to it? Why are you still in network marketing?
I love this industry and I believe in this industry. And I know for a fact, and I knew back in the day that if people would buckle down, like one of my favorite quotes is, being a professional is doing the things you don't want to do or you don't feel like doing, but you do them anyway. I always knew that people could make a 6-figure income or more with network marketing. I always knew that. But then when I actually started to taste it and experience it, my love for it grew even more, because what I get so excited about is I don't have a college degree. I barely graduated high school. And there's so many people that they can make a 6, 7, 8, 9-figure income through this industry if they just, do put the work in. So I love that. I love the fact that, like, I used to be a business manager for Clinique, and I would have these beautiful girls come up to the counter and ask if we were hiring, and we weren't. And after talking to them for a half hour or so, I was like, man, this girl would kill it. She would kill it behind this counter, but I didn't have the power to hire them. So I love this industry because anybody can do this. And the only ceiling there is for income is ourselves. We're the only ceiling that we have. And so just to give people time freedom, financial freedom, I think the most important thing it's done for me, and what I love seeing it do for other people, is the confidence that it gives us. I'm not the same person that I was 2 years ago or 6 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago. This industry can give us confidence like we've never seen. So not only can it change our lives financially and give us time freedom, but the confidence and the person we become through this industry. And so that's why I love it, Simon. There's nothing like it. And yes, there are some, we're kind of in a weird space right now. It is what it is. But so is box businesses. Like, everything's kind of in a weird place right now. I'm just grateful that what I love about it too is we all have the same dream, right? Like, we all want to get to that same place: financial freedom, time freedom. Some of us take different vehicles. My vehicle is with the company I'm with now. Dave's vehicle might be with health and wellness. Jan's vehicle might be with real estate, but we're all going to the same destination. We're just in a different vehicle. And that's what I love about it. Find what your passion is, find what excites you, be a product of the product. And that's where the magic happens. And that's what I love, is that we're all going to the same place. We're just driving a different vehicle. And nobody can offer the stability financially and the freedom that this industry does. And I just love it. I just love it.
I know you're very consistent, otherwise you wouldn't have your success. So how do you stay consistent? Do you have any hacks or routines? What makes you consistent, Tracy?
I'm going to be real honest with you here. The first thing I had to do is I had to get in prayer. I really had to have a conversation with God. And then it turns out that he had to come to Jesus with me. And I really had to dedicate my time and my team and my business to God and really ask him for direction and listen. That was the first thing I did. Not everybody's going to do that, but that's the first thing that I personally needed to do, is I needed to give it to God and be willing to be obedient to hear what he wants me to do with it. So that was the first thing I did. But honestly, to be consistent for me personally, I have to go by my 6 most important things. If I don't write it down on what I need to do the next day, if I'm not writing down the most important things I have to do in my business, then sometimes it just gets away from me. And so for me to be consistent, I have to be intentional. we have to be intentional in this industry. So I have to be intentional. And for my brain, I have my, my list of what I need to do, and I cross it off. And personal development for me to be consistent. If I miss personal development, I can miss it one day, maybe two, but then it starts to slip, and it's just really important. I think personal development is, by the way, your book, The Consistency, Phil, is amazing. But I think that for me to be consistent, I have to go by my list. That's just, I get sidetracked really easy. I get, kind of the ADD brain. I have to be focused. And for me to be focused, I need my list, and I need to do what's most important. Everybody has different things that they do, but for me, that's how I stay consistent, and that's how I stay intentional.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's why I wrote in my book, since you mentioned it, step one of being consistent, the component is having a checklist. You got to be clear on what you need to do. If you're not clear, it's hard to be consistent. For those who are watching on YouTube, I love your shirt. Prayer is included in my business plan. Right? Boss ex-believer. Talk about that. I think that's the most coolest shirt.
I saw this on like a Facebook ad, and I just had to get it because, like I just mentioned, if I don't have God in control, God's got to be in control of my life first and foremost. And then when it dawned on me that God, I had to give everything to God. I had to surrender everything to God. And I had to surrender my business. And, when I started to do that, some of the fear and some of the stress and some of the worry, it just kind of went away, because I knew that if I was aligning myself with what God wanted me to do, and if I was becoming the leader that God wanted me to be, and I was listening to him, that everything is going to work out. Everything is going to be fine. And so, for me, if I don't give my business to God on a daily basis, and even this morning, I was walking the dogs, just praying, like, Lord, I'm a little nervous. I haven't really met, Simon and hung out with him much, but you've got this, the road is yours. So I just think, for me personally, and I know you feel the same way. I love that about you. My faith isn't just about my life in this box, but my faith goes in everything. And it is in my business. And not only do I have this, but I ordered like 3 or 4 shirts, and I wear them a lot because it reminds me that I want to give my best to God, and I want to give him the best part of everything. And part of my life is my business. And so it's just a great reminder for me. I know when I wear it out, I'll have I probably have 10 people a day stop me and say, I love your shirt. So I just think it's for me. I just need to stay focused. I need to stay grounded with God and really hear what he has in store for my business. Because sometimes I think that I'm doing something, and maybe it's not really what needs to be done. And so I have to be still and listen to God. And sometimes I have to pivot. And I'm working on that every day. It's a walk, but I'm excited. I just recently in December just got my business now and what I'm doing and my team to God. And since I've done that, it's been a whole different ballgame. And so I'm just grateful that I personally believe that, because it's what keeps me going. And I know that God wants the best for us, Simon. God wants the best for us in everything we do. And he wants the best for us in our business. And if we're leading the way God wants us to lead, we're going to attract people not only to our business, but we're also going to attract people to Christ. And so some people will argue with me that I need to separate God from business, but I can't, because that's not what God wants me to do. And if they want to do that, that's great. But for me personally, it's part of my life, and my business is a big part of my life. So I do need to pray over, in my business plan. So that's the shirt.
God bless you, sister. That's awesome. Thank you. You've been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. We're going to wrap up. Some really quick last questions, and these can be one sentence, really, really quick. So the first one is, what is one of your favorite success quotes that motivates you, Tracy?
Well, one of my favorite ones was, it's by Rob Sperry. Successful people do the basics better. And I have to remember that, because as leaders sometimes, or new people, we always try to reinvent the wheel, and we're trying to do things our own way. And the reality is, successful people just do the basics better. And that really, if we keep that in mind and we focus on that, just do the basics better. The basics is, our DMOs, like calling people, following up, just the simple things. So that really stuck with me when I heard that from Rob in 2018. And wow, it just really, it really moved mountains for me, as simple as it is. But I have it written on my wall. I mean, I have some scriptures too, but that's my success quote from, my mentor.
What's the best piece of advice you ever received?
I hate this word because people overuse it, but really, to be authentic, we just have to be ourselves. We don't. So the best advice is be who you are. My prayer is that I would be the best Tracy Rodgers that God created me to be. And if I stop comparing myself to other people, if I stop trying to be like somebody else, I just need the best person that God created me to be. And if I can do that, then I'm going to be the best me, and people are going to be drawn to me because I'm the best Tracy Rodgers that I can be. But comparison, well, it'll steal your joy, and I think that there's a lot of that going on. So I learned, to. I think the best advice is just don't compare yourself to others. Your road is everybody has their own road, and you focus on what you need to do. Be yourself. Strive to get better. And that comes with personal development, which for me is, in the Bible and in my personal development books, like yours, the consistency pill, because it's awesome, guys. If you don't have it, go get it yet. I got to plug it, Simon. You didn't
Thank
ask
you.
but yeah, just to be who you are. And if you're who you are, because if you try to be somebody else, people they're gonna notice. They're gonna know it's not you. And it's hard enough to be ourselves, much less try to be somebody else. So in this world, especially network marketing, don't compare yourself. You're on your own road, you're on your journey, and it's up to me to better myself through the different tools that our company has and personal development and different masterminds and things like that. So don't compare, be yourself, but get better, do better, get better, do better.
What's your favorite prospecting tool, real quick, in 2 or 3 words? So if someone is interested, do you get them on a phone? Do you get on a Zoom? Do you meet them face to face or send a video? What do you like?
You know what? I'm old school. I want to get on the phone with them. And that's the first thing. If I can get on the phone and we can have a conversation back and forth, I think we tend to get lazy on social media. Like, for example, somebody will say, oh, I saw your live, send me your link. And it's really easy just to go, okay. And we send them our website link, right?
And nothing happens.
And maybe they might sign up. But so what I do is like, can I get on the phone for minutes? I know that if I can get them on the phone and find out more about them, ask them questions, what are they looking for? What would they like to happen? So I'm old school. I like to get them on the phone. I will do Zoom stuff, but I'm kind of over the part where I'm just sending links out because that's not personal. So I'm a phone person. I like the phone.
What's your favorite app on your phone that's not a social media
app? You mean what, in general or for business?
Anything. It could be anything.
Okay, so I have the app Pray.com.
There you go.
I don't know if you've heard of it. I love it. And I just, I love it. So I listen to it in the morning. I listen to it going to bed. I listen to it today. If I'm having, whatever, I'll take 15 minutes. So I love the Pray.com app because it's got everything from music to sermons, to Bible readings, to Bible stories, to bedtime stories. I can play it and listen with my grandkids and they can hear children's stories. So that's my favorite app right now is the Pray.com. I love it.
You mentioned a couple books already about Rob's book, You're a Badass, and my book. But what are any other books you could recommend? Any other 1 or 2 books?
Yeah, I want to recommend, I love The Game of Conquering by Rob Sperry. That's a really powerful book. And not just because I'm chapter 4, page 42, but this book is so good. It's about victims, survivors, and conquerors. I think everybody needs to read it, whether you're in business or not, because it really walks you through the victim mentality, the survivor mentality, and the conqueror mentality. And I'm actually going through it again right now because I need a good refresher. I think we're living in a time where I just needed to be reminded that I am more than a conqueror. So I love that book. I think everybody should read it. It really, and if you're stuck in the victim mode, then it helps to get into the survivor and onto the conqueror. If you're stuck in the survivor mode, it helps to move you into the conquer mode. And we all want to be a conqueror. So I love the game of conquering. I have it with me all the time. And I do love, it's really, really small. I Will Until by Darren Kidd. It's really easy to read. It's short, but it's talking about excuses that we give ourselves of why we don't do what we need to do to be successful. So if you're struggling with, why aren't I more successful? Then that's a good book. It's an easy read. And then I love your book, The Consistency Pill, because that's what kind of got me started on my prayer in December. Simon, I just want to share with you is because I needed to be consistent and I needed to be intentional and I needed to be disciplined. And that book really kind of did something with me that I had that aha moment where I went, I need to do this. So I think the 3 books that everybody should read is The Game of Conquering by Rob Sperry, The Consistency Pill by Simon Chan, because if you're not consistent in this business, you're not going to make it. And then I Will Until is a short read for how to get over your excuses.
Hey, thank you so much for sharing my book. And here's the last question, the $1 million question. Are you ready?
Okay.
So imagine you had to start all over again, Tracy, and you knew no one. You didn't know your kids, you didn't know your family, your contact list was 0. But you had all your current skills, knowledge, and wisdom. What's the first thing you do or the first place you go to build your network marketing business from scratch?
I love Facebook, but I don't think it's a place to grow a business. I mean, you can grow the business, but people rely on it too much. What I would do is, again, it goes back to if they've stepped within 3 feet of my body, they've stepped into my office. Your mouth is your office. Keep it open. So, and I'm kind of doing that again because I'm starting all over. So wherever I'm at, I find ways to talk to people. I will find a way I start up conversations easily anyway. And just creating conversations, you can find something to talk about how it weaves in what you do. So I'm a firm believer that you don't just run your business on social media. You weave your business into your life. If I'm out and about, if there's a waitress I love, I'll compliment her and say, you've got great customer service. You're one of the best servers that I've ever had. I'm always looking for people just like you to talk to. I want to leave you this gift because I carry samples around. Give me your phone number. And I hand her my phone. Here, put your name in my contacts. I would love to just send you a quick text. I'm really impressed with your service, and people need people like you. So there's always a way to weave in the conversation, compliments. If I'm in the bank, there's just always if we stop and listen and pay attention, there's always ways. So I'm a firm believer, and this is what I'm doing now. But that's what I would do, and I am starting all over. Is take your business with you where you go, and weave that conversation in. So I think networking is a big deal. People can join meetup groups that are local business meetup groups, the chamber. If your kids are in school, kind of that Frank list, friends, relatives, acquaintances, start up conversations with moms, volunteer. We've got to be out with the people, So that's how I personally do it. And that's what I'm doing now. I know some people I'm not the best at social media. I'm here to tell you. I don't know how to use TikTok. I don't know how to do a reel yet. I don't know how to do any of that. I'm learning. But for me, just taking my business with me wherever I go and starting conversations, because you'd be amazed. You wouldn't be amazed, but people will be amazed the interest that people have. And if you're not talking about your product, you're not selling your product. If you're not talking about the opportunity, you're not selling the opportunity. So, your mouth is your office. Keep it open.
What's the best way our listeners can connect with you, Tracy?
Well, I am on Facebook, Tracy Rodgers. I am on Instagram that I'm learning. I'm learning it. Go to Tracy. But you typically Facebook's the best way. If they want to reach out to me, or I think in my profile, it's probably got my phone number and everything else. But that's the best way. Facebook.
Hey, thank you so much. Hey, MLM Nation, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And today you've been hanging out with Tracy Rodgers. So keep up the momentum. Head over to the website, mlmnation.com. Click on the podcast tab, and there's detailed show notes with all the nuggets of wisdom that Tracy shared with you right there, including the links to her profile. Definitely go and follow her and connect with her. And in order to be successful in life, in business, and network marketing, you must help others. So Tracy, thanks again for sharing your valuable time with MLM Nation. We're grateful to you, and we appreciate you for having a positive impact on millions of distributors worldwide. Thank you so much again, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, MLM Nation, Simon Chan. A great episode from Tracy Rodgers. Make sure you head over to the website. We have very detailed show notes now, a breakdown in order, main key points, action points, the takeaways, the things that you need to take action on. It's right there. Just head over to MLMNation.com, click on the podcast tab, and the episode of Tracy is right there. Make sure you follow her as well and connect with her. Amazing leader. And she talks about success is 90% mindset, right? And I so agree with that. I actually say it was 95% because order getting outside the comfort zone, right? And not worrying about what people think of you, the rejection, the consistency, not giving up, right? That's all about mindset, how you see yourself, not comparing yourself to others. Like a lot of you all know that info, but you're not taking action because you don't have that mindset. You don't have someone to push you. You don't have that accountability. It's so important. There's so many aha moments there, but mostly it's all about, and I love the saying she talked about, the magic, how it happens outside the comfort zone. Yeah, all your dreams and goals, MLM Nation, are outside that comfort zone. You got to be uncomfortable in order to be comfortable. And if you're not where you're at, it's because you are not uncomfortable enough. So make sure you go outside your comfort zone. It's also very inspiring for someone that barely graduated from high school, able to have success. Right? It's a journey. Her journey took a long, long time because she was uncoachable, not willing to pick up the phone. Right? Until she learned how to be uncomfortable, that's when things start changing. I love the quote she talked about from Rob Sperry, my good friend Rob Sperry. Professionals just do the basic things better, right? It's the simple DMO, the 6 things. Plan your day. Don't let your time. If you lose 5 minutes, you're losing money. And maybe some of you can't concentrate for 1 hour, so she gives you 15-minute blocks. Right? Be productive. You just need 2 hours. She's up at 2 hours. 2 hours, 1 hour doing this and 1 hour doing that. Right? I mean, if you don't have, that's for a leader. If you're not a leader, just 1 hour. Most of you may think you're working. And by the way, that does not include training. That does not include like watching Facebook live videos. This is actually income producing activities. Go out there, marketing your business, connecting with people. That's what pays. That's the thing that's going to grow your business. Consistency, right? And having that checklist. That's component number 1 of being consistent, is having, if you're not clear on what you need to do, you're going to be wasting time. What should I be doing today? Right? You can have a DMO, simple DMO you do every day. Or like Tracy, she teaches her team, you do these 6 things. You do number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, but you don't do number 6 and do number 1. You do the most important things first. Hey, that's why I have a lot of good stuff here. And insanity, this is from Henry Ford, is doing the same thing over and over again, right? And expecting different results. So if you're not getting the results you want, MLM Nation, start thinking, what are you going to do differently? Who is going to push you? What are you going to do? How are you going to think about? How are you going to do the things you don't want to do? You know you need to do, but you don't want to do. Right? And don't quit when you want to quit. The temptation to quit is greatest when success is right around the corner. When you want to quit, that's when you don't quit, because success is right around the corner. So great show. Make sure to connect with Tracy. Go check out the show. I'm going to keep this recap short. Order nuggets on the show notes page with an outline, the action steps. Head over to MLMNation.com. And please also make sure you follow Tracy. And these things take a lot of her time. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe on our podcast and leave a review. It will really mean a lot to me and to the entire profession. So thank you so much for listening. Hey, I'm loud and proud to be part of this amazing profession. Now it's over to you. Take action. Get outside of the comfort zone and go out there and have a positive impact on someone's life. God bless you all.